everybody. Thank you for checking out the Live, Laugh, Live podcast. My name is Sam Brown, and I have some news for you. First order of business today is I wrote an ebook. I wrote a book, which is strange. It's called Weight Loss Survival Guide from a Former Fat Guy, and I'm the former fat guy. As you all know, I used to be a lot heavier than I am now, and it was quite a journey to get to where I am today. But I had to share the story. I had to share the tips and tricks I used to get there. I had to share how I got there, and you know what? I really, really, really enjoyed writing it. What I'll do is I'll put the in the show notes or under this, you can find the website. It's www.weightlosssurvivalguide.com, or you can find it on the Amazon Marketplace for your favorite Kindle or Nook or whatever the hell they sell it with. But today, what I wanted to do, and oh yeah, before I continue, if you hear like an echoey-ness to this or like an empty soundingness, I am just in a big room sitting on a couch. Because I would prefer to do these things comfortable, and you can't change me. But yeah, if the audio sounds different than any of the other versions, that's why. I'm enjoying a really delicious beverage. I'm sitting on a couch. I just got done doing my cardio, and I'm ready to tackle this solo podcast. Oh, also, again, another apology. Don't really like starting these friggin' things with apologies, but the last podcast I did was in like the beginning of the summer, and now it's almost the middle. It is the middle of September, so shit happens, you know. But here we are. We're back, and I want to do something a little bit different today. I want to do something a little special. I want to talk about one of the chapters in my book, and maybe get you guys enticed to read the whole thing. I think that's a good plan. So let me just, you'd think I have it all set up, but I really, really don't. So today in the podcast, we're going to be going over chapter 10 of my book, Fix Your Mind. If you have my book, you can read along. I'm not actually going to read it. I'm just going to talk about it. So when I wrote this book, I had to sit down and kind of figure out some of the best tips and pieces of advice I've received all along this journey. And I have to say the number one piece of advice that I received was to fix your mind. And what I mean by fix your mind is I mean that you need to kind of understand who you are as a person, what your tendencies are, what your, I'm going to say addictions are. You know, I was addicted to certain types of food because I was using them to treat my lack of emotional and mental stability at the time. You know, I was using food as a crutch. I was using food to make myself feel better. And I have to say that the best piece of advice that I received was to get to the root of those problems, to understand why I was using food as a crutch. You know, like what parts of my life were making me unhappy. And I go over in this book how you kind of do that. Like you really, really, really need to give yourself time to talk about what's going on with your life. You know, consider it selfish, do whatever. I know everybody has their own lives. Everybody does what they do on a daily basis. Most of the time it's for other people. You go to a job, you work for somebody else. You have a family and your life is not your own. You know, like you're worried about what the kids are going to eat for dinner. You're going to worry about getting them to school on time, or, you know, or even if you're in a relationship that you focus entirely on the other person, that can be detrimental to your mental state. And you need to find the time to not only focus on yourself, but to talk about yourself and to talk out your problems. I know a lot of people that do not do well with, talking about their own issues because they feel self-conscious. They feel like they're going to be judged. And that's not fair. That's not fair to them. You know, everybody needs the time to heal and to process things and to give themselves the time of day to really focus on you. You know, and I talk about in the book what it was like for me I would just so happen to be in the Providence College master's program for counseling, and during this time, it was so serendipitous that I was in a class that focused on group counseling and how to group counsel people. And essentially, the class broke down into a couple different groups, and the rest of the semester was you were focused in on your group, and you would take turns every week being the group leader, going over things, getting people to talk about what was going on. And I have to say that this was the best thing I could have done, that could have happened to me, because I genuinely talked about all my problems so openly and honestly with all of these people. It was a close knit group of about five of us, and they prodded me. They forced me to. I say forced, but not in like a bad way. They you know pushed me along to talk about myself and to really get under the skin and get really focused in on what was going on with me. And I had a lot of pain in there. I had a lot of issues going on at the time, and these people like helped me talk about it. And you don't realize how much shit you have going on between your ears until you get into a position where you have to explain what's going on to another person in order for them to understand. And like the idea that to be a really good teacher, you have to do the things that you're teaching. You can't just talk about them. It's kind of the same thing with counseling. You have to be a good counselor, you have to be counseled. You have to understand what it's like to be on the receiving end of someone wanting to help you. And that's what I really wanted to focus on in this book is, you know what, you have a lot of stuff going on in your life and you're trying to be a lot of different things. A lot of the time you're just overstressed. You've too much going on, and you need to focus on you. You need to talk about yourself. You need to uncover what is making you feel that way, and ultimately what is making you overeat or overdrink or whatever. I talk about the fact that you cannot change your body without changing your mind. You just can't. It's impossible, because you could probably do it for a short term, definitely, but at the same time, we're looking for a long term change here. We don't want to just lose a few pounds and then jump right back up to our beginning weight, possibly gain a few pounds because we overindulge and we have no balance. The goal for this process is to make a lifelong change, a healthy change that that you can stick to. And in order for you to do that, you need to understand why you're unhappy or why you're sad or why you're frustrated or why you're mad about something. For me, I was brokenhearted at the time, and everything sucked. Like, I wasn't in control. I didn't have that life control that I was looking for. And simply talking about it for 45 minutes once a week really helped me to get to the bottom of it. I probably should have, because I'm crazy, I probably should have talked about it more to more professionals. But, you know, being in such a comforting, supportive, and loving environment that was that Providence College class, I learned more about myself than I thought I knew going in. You know, that's one of the things that this counseling and this mental health, position that I'm looking to be, shows people that you really, really need to spend the time on fixing your mental state. A lot of the times that is the issue. You may say, oh, I'm overweight because I overeat. It's like, yes, on paper that is really what's going on, but deep down, you know that you're unhappy. You're either unhappy or you're just not satisfied with your situation, or you're bored. Shit, I don't even know how many times I've eaten an entire bag of Oreos because I was bored. I wasn't hungry. I didn't need the calories, but I was bored. You need to have that mature level of emotional and mental understanding of yourself in order to really make a change in your life and to understand what is going on and what you're doing. Because obviously, if I was in the same boat, if you're overweight, you're unhappy because you're overweight and you try to diet and then you try to diet too hard, you try to cut out everything all at once and then you're more miserable and then the cravings come and then you succumb to the cravings and then you overeat and then you gain a pound and then it's a terrible cycle and nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be in that cycle and you shouldn't have to. Losing weight is, can be mentally draining for sure. And everybody knows that in order to lose weight, you need to eat less than you burn. It's just this, it's like a math problem. But honestly, if your mind is constantly running at a million miles an hour, and by the end of the day, you're just fried because you've mentally been beating the shit out of yourself for, if you're guilty about something, if you're sad about something, you're just an overthinker. That's what I really wanted to focus in on is the fact that I too am an overthinker. I am an overthinker, and I will stay up all hours of the night with shit running through my head, with a bag of chips or something, just to keep me focused on something besides thinking. And that's one of my personal downfalls, and that's how I've gained weight before is, just being inundated mentally with shit that you have going on. And truthfully, to this day I still do it. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to just get on the mic here and talk for a little bit, is because I have all this shit running through my brain, and yeah, it's exhausting. And when you get to that point, when you get to that mentally exhausted point at the end of your day, the last thing you want to do is eat a fucking salad. It's true. The last thing you want to do is eat healthy because you don't get that mental relief. Don't get that mental release of endorphins that you get when you eat the food that tastes good. You're looking for comfort. You're looking for that mental comfort at the end of the day. And that's what I wanted to touch on in this section of the book is you need to talk to somebody. You need to get to the bottom, to the root cause of that issue. And you can do that. I am going to be a counselor when I finally graduate grad school. So close. And that's one of the reasons I wrote this book, is to help people understand that you can't just focus solely on the physical portion of yourself when you're trying to lose weight. You need to focus on your mental state as well. In order to change the physical, you need to change the mental. You need to get to the real cause, the real root of the issue. And you do that by going to a counselor, going to a professional, and just talking. These people are professionals, trust me. And they have all been counseled before. Everybody's been through shit. Everybody has mounds and mounds of shit mentally that they carry around with them for no reason. And a good counselor will help you put your boots on, rummage through that shit, figure out what's good, what's bad, and at the end of it, you feel clean, you feel relieved. And that is that feeling that I want for everybody to have, because a lot of people are too afraid to talk to a professional or see a counselor. It's like, oh no, they'll think I'm crazy, or they're not going to understand. And you know what? They don't have to truly understand necessarily the exact situation you're in, because a good counselor is essentially a reflective surface to showcase to you what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're saying, and how you're feeling. Because living in our own worlds, in our own heads, we have a pretty good idea of what we do or what we say, and you know like it's the idea of okay, this is an example of what counseling is like. That feeling when you record your voice and then you play it back and you're like, oh god, I can't stand, like, that's my voice. Like, how do people not fucking throw shit at me all the time when, when I'm in public? My voice sounds terrible. But that's the same thing that a counselor does to you. A counselor projects what it is that you're saying, what it is that you're feeling back to you in a non-judgmental, highly objective way for you to see the facts for what they are. And like a lot of the times when you're being counseled, a really good counselor will say something that you just said back to you, and you'll be sitting there like, God, that sounds nuts. I'm a crazy person, but it's healthy. It's healthy to get that, third person or that third party perspective of your life, a non-judgmental and non, you know, argumentative or anything. Because let's be real, talking to a girlfriend or talking to a wife or a spouse or a husband or a mother or a grandmother or a friend that's really close to you that doesn't really have that counseling mental health background is probably going to try to fix your problem. Like we've all been in those situations where we're just having a shitty day, and to feel better, you kind of just want to talk about your shitty day. Like you really don't want an answer, and you sure as shit don't want someone to be like, "Hey, you should have just done this, and it would have been better." You just want to talk about it. You just want to get it off your chest, go about your day, and feel better. And it's unfortunate that a lot of the people in our society today just aren't good listeners. They aren't good listeners, and they're just pretty much waiting for you to stop talking to tell you something about them. And that's why I believe that a lot of the people that are, trying to lose weight or trying to feel better or trying to get better at something are having a hard time sticking to the plan because honestly, sometimes they just want to talk about shit. They just want to talk about what's going on in their lives and just feel better. And a lot of the times, they don't have someone to talk to or to deal with or to bounce ideas off of. And that's where the food comes in. The food comes in because the food doesn't talk back. The snacks aren't judgmental. They don't try to change you. You know, and that's pretty much the main point that I want to hammer home about this is the fact that, you know what? Just get out. If you're not going to find a professional, please find a friend that will truly listen to you, that doesn't just talk over you, that isn't trying to just instantaneously fix your problem. Just a listener. And for all those people out there, if you're like, oh yeah, I don't really have one of those people, it's because, you know what? Maybe you're not one of those people. And this goes both ways because if you're looking for a listener, if you're looking for someone to genuinely care and to give you the time of day, give that to somebody else. You never know. If they feel comfortable with you and, feel as if they can bounce ideas off of you, then they may do the same thing to you. They may be that person for you, Be a better listener, care about people, because you never know what somebody's going through. Everybody's got a story. Like I said, everybody's got shit in their head that they're dealing with, and you never really know what that shit is. It could be very similar to yours. It could be far worse than yours. You never really know. And that's why I think the mental health side of things is one of the biggest contributing factors of weight loss and getting healthier. But wow, I've been going for shit. That was actually a pretty good one. I feel pretty good about that one. I didn't even take a sip of my beverage in that entire time. I feel as if I was doing pretty well. But yeah, so that's that section of my book, Fix Your Mind. I really, really, really think that is the biggest part of weight loss. It was for me, and I know it would be for a lot of people. Because even today, even to this point, when I get like in a rut, like when I get in a rut or I feel really sad, I'm like, I should probably eat something. I'm probably hungry. It's like I'm not hungry. I had a bad day. I had a shitty day, and it's okay. You can have a shitty day. It's not against the law. Nor is it against the law to eat your feelings. But if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to be healthier, happier, you need to figure out your shit. You need to figure out your problems and, find the help that you need. And I'm not saying that you're crazy for having feelings or anything like that. I just really want you to feel what it's like. It is the most, centering, happy, genuinely just amazing feeling to talk to somebody that listens, that actually listens, and provides you that support that you don't get all the time. And that feeling you get walking out of there, it's like, wow, I feel great. I can handle anything. And you get excited. You get excited about life again because you just unloaded your shit. You just unloaded all of your excess mental baggage that, weighs you down. It's like getting a mental colonic. It's going to a really good counselor is like getting your colon pumped out with salt water or whatever the hell they use. Who knows? I haven't had things in my butt. But I think that it's just so mandatory for anybody on this planet. And I think everybody would be genuinely a nicer, happier person if they felt like they were listened to and cared for a little bit more. So that's it. That's pretty much the synopsis of the Fix Your Mind section of my ebook, Weight Loss Survival Guide from a Former Fat Guy. If you'd enjoyed this section, you probably sure as hell enjoy the rest of the sections of the book, and you can find the book at www.fat. Oh my god, I just screwed up my own website. That is embarrassing. www.weightlossurvivalguide.com, or you can find it on Amazon for your Kindle folk out there. Amazon Marketplace. I'll put all the links in the show notes down below. But I think that'll do it. I've been talking here for a little bit. I'm getting a little bit hungry, and when I get hungry, I get unproductive. So I'm going to have myself a nice little lunch, and I will be talking to you guys in the next one. So as always, lift heavy, laugh hard, live your damn lives, and visit www.weightlossurvivalguide.com and www.liftlaughlive.net for all your awesome health, fitness, strength training, powerlifting, strongman, sex appeal reasons to visit the website. But yeah, as always, lift heavy, laugh hard, live your damn life. I'm Sam Brown. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for listening in. See ya!